Good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on if you're watching the replay version of the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence. I am Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leffridge with Unstoppable Coaching Services, and I'm so pleased, I'm so glad that you took a minute, an hour out of your night to join the Next Level Living Show, where we talk to ordinary people doing extraordinary things to live their life on the next level. As I say each and every show, this show was created out of a vision from God to talk to ordinary people who are doing, just one second, who are talking to ordinary people doing extraordinary things to live their life on the next level. So each and every broadcast, we bring someone on the show who is on the rise, who is about to just blow up and take the world by storm with their message. And we want to have them share not only their message with you, but their story of how they got to where they are and how they keep on moving to where they want to be. So that someone out there, some little boy, some little girl, who may be looking to become the next best-selling author, or who may be looking to become a superstar coach, or who may be looking to start their own business to service the world, that they will know the keys, the good and the bad things in terms of starting up a business and taking it to the next level. So again, I'm glad that you are here, and we're going to do a little housekeeping rules before we get into the show. If you look right above your screen right now, you'll see all these wonderful social media buttons. The Next Level Living Show is definitely in the social media, and if you follow me on Facebook or on Twitter or on LinkedIn, or even on Pinterest with the Next Level Living Show, then I thank you in advance for that. But what I want you to do right now is let's get interactive. Go ahead and click one of those buttons right now. Maybe it's the Facebook button. Maybe you're on Facebook with your friends right now. Go ahead and click that button and let them know you're watching the Next Level Living Show, where we're going to be talking about how you can journal to heal your pain and move into profitability. So maybe you are on Twitter right now. Maybe you're tweeting and you just don't know what to do with those 140 characters right in front of you. Well, we've got something for you too. Go ahead and tweet out this post right now. Tweet out hashtag Next Level Living Show. That's what I said. Hashtag Next Level Living Show. And let the world know that you too are watching the Next Level Living Show. Or maybe by chance you are that business owner that's looking to start taking notes and get great information, great infotainment tonight, and you want to share with all your circle of influence on LinkedIn. Well, there's a button there for you too. Go ahead and click that button and put in a brief post saying that you too are listening to the Next Level Living Show. Okay, now if you look down below, there's two things I want you to key in on while you're watching the show tonight. You'll see right underneath the camera that there is an interactive section where you can go to the Next Level Living Show Facebook chat room by clicking the click here button. That's going to send you over to our chat room, and as always, we want you to be interactive with us. We want you to go ahead and put your name in there, where you're from, and if you are a startup business, here's your opportunity to let us know what your business is and what you do so that we can shout you out on the show. We'll be checking in throughout the course of the show to see who's out there interacting with us. And for those of you who act right now, if you go all the way down to the bottom of this page, you'll see that you'll have the opportunity to sign up for my 2 free ebooks. One talking about unstoppable confidence, having the confidence you need to do this thing. You know, starting up a business is not for the faint at heart, and you've got to be confident in your passion, in your purpose, and in your ability to take it to the next level. And Unstoppable Confidence is the ebook for you. But wait, there's more. There's a second ebook. They're talking about getting motivated, because maybe you are the person that has this dream, that has this vision, but you just haven't stepped up to the plate to make it happen. You know, I say a vision without action is just a dream. And you want to stop dreaming and you want to put that vision into action so that it'll become a reality. The book Getting Motivated is the book for you. So go ahead down there and click on that and go over to my website, unstoppablecoaching.com, and you'll get those 2 free ebooks just for signing up and giving me a little bit of information about yourself. So go ahead and do that right now and get ready for some wonderful entertainment. So, family, we are in the month of April. April is my favorite month, and it's my favorite month because it's my birthday. I just celebrated my birthday this past Monday, and I'll let you guys guess how old I am. And if you go into the Next Level Living Facebook chat room at some time during the show, maybe I'll even put it out there so you'll know. But until then, hey, somebody just go into the chat room now and just guess how old I am. Put in there, how old do you think Coach Terrence is? And we'll see who's right as we go through the show. Had a wonderful celebrating weekend. Had the opportunity to check out a movie. I had the opportunity to go out to dinner. Had an opportunity just to relax and reflect on 49 years of life. And if you're following me on any of the social media, you know that I've been doing videos this week of the 49 reasons that I'm thankful this year. And I challenge you, if you have a birthday coming up this month, or no matter when your birthday is, I want you to look at how old you are or how old you're going to be, and then see if you can come up with that same amount of things to be thankful for. You'll be surprised. When I started out writing those 49 things, and that should be a hint to somebody about the question I just put out there. When I started writing those 49 things, some of them were superficial, thank God for another day, thank God for my life, the typical things that run through our head the first time. But as I continued to get to number 10, and then to number 15, and then to number 20, 23, 27, 38, 42, all of a sudden the things that I was thankful for became deeper and more introspective. And I really got into this thing. And by the time I got to the last thing that I was thankful for, which I said was I was thankful for God for giving me another year to continue to move forward. I just had a shouting party right in the middle of my room. Because in a nutshell, there were so many things that I had to be thankful for that I just couldn't contain it. I just couldn't keep it inside. So I challenge you to do that in your own life. We live in a world that lives and thrives on the negativity in the media, in the press, in the break rooms at work. Everybody wants to gossip. Everybody wants to talk about the negativity. Everyone feeds in to the negativity. And many times because of that, we don't take the time to recognize all the things we have to be thankful for. So I implore you to take some time this weekend and maybe come up with 5, 10, maybe even more things that you are truly thankful for this week. And while you're at it, you can go over to my website and get my latest book. It is You Are Unstoppable, 11 Key Attributes to Living the Unstoppable Life. Oh, it's been selling like gangbusters, and I've been getting a lot of great reviews. I just got a letter in the mail just this past week where they said that every time they read the book, they get a new, fresh nugget, something that makes them say, And that just warmed my heart, because if you read the book over and over, it's a workbook. It's not just something that you read once and you put it on your shelf. It's something that if you read it and apply it each and every time, something new is going to come to you. But what I wanted to let you know is that this book you see here, was the manifestation of this book right here. This was my journal. This was something that I started writing in maybe 5 years ago. And I started writing what later turned out to be the book 3 years ago. Now, why is that important to this conversation? It's important to this conversation because when I first started writing in the journal, I didn't have the thought of a book. I just needed an outlet for my thoughts. I needed to get everything that was going on in my head out of my head in some place where I could see it in a tangible form. And as I started to journal and as I started to get consistent with it, then I found myself really understanding myself and where I was at that point in time. And then I had to deal with some things that were going on in my life. I had to deal with the self doubt that was going on in my life. I had to deal with the procrastination that was going on in my life. And for the longest time, I didn't think that that journal would be anything but a journal. But God, ladies and gentlemen, but God had a plan. He had a purpose. He knew that that journal was going to lead to something more, and He planted the seed. And He just told me to just write. And He told me to continue to write. And then He told me that no, you don't have to doubt what you're writing. This book that you're writing in is going to turn into a greater book down the line. And I didn't believe it. I was still doubting myself. And then He gave the message to me one day that what you're writing in this book may not be for everybody, but it's for somebody. And once I got that message, I was able to push through the journaling and turn the journaling into the book. And this, so far, since January, has been blessing people across the country and even across the world. So why is that important to this conversation? Because I want you to know that you can journal through your pain into profit. Now, I can't tell this by myself because I'm just the unstoppable coach. So I wanted to bring in an expert on journaling to give you a more intimate conversation of what it means to journal and to tell her story of how journaling has turned her into the person that now has 4 books. You heard me say it, 4. I got 1, she got 4. All because of journaling. So what I want to do is I want to introduce you guys to Jamie Cooper. Jamie Cooper has her own blog talk radio show called Jamie's Journal, and she is professionally known as the journal strategist. The journal strategist. Let me get that word right. The journal strategist. Ain't that a sexy title? The journal strategist. And she's from the South New Jersey area. She's had her own radio show since 2013, but she's been doing a journal platform long before that. And now she's helping business owners learn how to journal as a part of their daily life. And she's also now showing them how that they can turn that journaling into a book and into profitability. You can catch her show, Jamie Journal, on Blog Talk Radio Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 10 o'clock Eastern. But you don't have to wait for that because we've got her here right now. So welcome to the Next Level Living Show, Jamie Cooper of Jamie's Journal. Jamie, are you on the broadcast?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Awesome. How are you?
Hey, unstoppable. You know my word. Welcome so much to the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence. I'm glad you took some time out of your extremely busy schedule with writing books and hosting radio shows to share a couple of nuggets with our audience this evening. But before you start to share your nuggets, here's your opportunity to tell us a little bit more about who Jamie is. And while you're doing that, let's start with the first question that I ask every one of my guests. And that question is, Jamie, what does it mean to you to live your life on the next level?
Wow. Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Terrence Leffridge, for having me on the show. It's a great opportunity to be here. And what it means to me to be on the next level is to think outside the box. Sometimes thinking inside the box can be a little bit boring. So when you talk about next level, I tend to think outside the box, thinking about values and my preferred clients that would like to hear about journaling.
Fantastic. So when you think outside of the box, give us a little bit more insight about who Jamie is and how she thinks outside of the box. In other words, tell us your story.
My story on journaling is I remember back a couple years ago when I was I don't know, maybe in my 14, maybe 15, you can probably tell how old I am. I started babysitting. I started helping my mom out. I started going through the years, babysitting and working early in my years. And I remember sitting down one day, feeling a little low, and I remember uh, just writing a couple things. You know, I wrote a couple things, and then I drew, and then I wrote down how I felt at that time. So that really helped me through some of the stressful times, some of the frustration times when I really didn't know what else to do. Because you know, when you go to a church and you try to get counseling, they're set up a different way. So when I decided to journal on my own, there's no one standing over you. There's no one telling you, oh, you must do this, you must do that, you must go here. So journaling is just another aspect of me realizing how valuable it is and how much passion I have in journaling today.
Fabulous. So, you know, most people don't just get started out of the blue doing anything. So, what led you into journaling in the first place?
What led me into journaling? I would say, you know, as as being a radio host since 2013, I've really decided. Well, when I started out talking about coffee. I started talking about a bunch of different things, and then I said, okay, well, why don't I do something different? So I said to myself, I like to write. And at that time, I think I was trying to get out of college because I couldn't pass the courses. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Okay.
So I said, okay, well, let me do something different. So on the different, side, I said, okay, well, let me see if I could just start writing a paragraph, writing a sentence. So I started out that way, and it led me to a different way to journal, a different way to be creative and think outside the box in a different way.
Wow. And isn't it so funny that many of us we fall into doing something different after I won't necessarily say a failure in your case, but in a setback in some other area. Because you weren't able to do one thing the way you wanted to do it, you decided to go in a different direction and try something else. Isn't that your story?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And if you mind, could I go further?
Oh, by all means, Jamie, go ahead.
Okay, so actually, leading up to my story of writing and getting into radio, I said, okay, I got to do something different. So I thought about, well, you know, out here today, what are some things that we need to overcome? What are some things that we're overlooking? So then I said, okay, let me take a closer look on mompreneurs. So I was like, okay, let me Google this, let me Google it, because everyone says Google it. So as I began to Google it, I began to see, okay, well, there's not much mompreneur things on Google. So then after I read some things, I read some things out, and then I decided, okay, well, why don't I not only write, but write specifically to a certain um, brand of people.
Okay, certain demographic.
Yes.
So are you a mompreneur yourself, or you spend a lot of time talking to mompreneurs on your show?
Not exactly. I have a client actually. I have a partner that's a mompreneur. I have a lot of mompreneurs around me. And I'm an auntie, so and sometimes in some areas of my day while I'm helping out my nephews, I feel like a mompreneur myself because
Okay.
I'm feeling the similarities. You know, cooking, cleaning. When I was younger, I had to wipe, do the diapers and take out the trash and all that stuff. So it's similar to being a mother.
Yes, and we don't discount anything here on the Next Level Living show. I myself am not a parent, but I have worked with homeless families for decades now, and I've worked with families as well as individuals as well as veterans, and I also do a lot of work with my niece and nephew. So for all the mompreneurs, the auntpreneurs, the fatherpreneurs, the villagepreneurs, if you want to say. So we recognize that every one of us has challenges trying to take care of other people while we pursue our dreams of being an entrepreneur as well. But you specifically picked the mompreneurs. So what is it about that group that tugged at your heart to want to provide more information and give more service to them?
Well, one of the things is I felt like they were being overlooked. I felt like they were not being focused enough on them. Mompreneurs do so much. We do so much from the morning to the evening. We're running with the kids. We're changing diapers. We're cooking. We're cleaning. We're doing everything. But sometimes mompreneurs gets overlooked, just like fathers. Sometimes fathers gets overlooked, and they say, "Oh, mom, mom, mom." But sometimes even the fathers get overlooked as well. So I just figured, well, since mompreneurs is not really jumping out there today, why don't I depend on writing a story on mompreneurs and how to uh, push past the minimum level of just being a mompreneur and not having that one-on-one time to that self-time that they need.
Fantastic. You guys, you're watching the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence and our special guest, journal strategist Jamie Cooper of the Jamie's Journal radio show on blogtalkradio.com. So we're talking to her about pushing through your pain through journaling and turning it into profit. So we're going to talk more a little bit later in the show on how you help mompreneurs become profitable by journaling. But you've done some other books as well, Jamie, that talk more about your personal struggles. So what was it about your personal struggles that brought you into journaling as well, Jamie?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. Well, actually, I wrote books on depression. I wrote books on abuse. I wrote even a book on ask, seek, and knock. Uh, a book and a journal on ask, seek, and knock. So those books led me to journaling as well. Oftentimes we go through situations and circumstances, and sometimes we don't know how to get out of those circumstances or situations. So I decided, well, why don't I talk about the abuse and the depression that I was going through? Because a lot of times it's not all about you. It's not all about you. Sometimes if you just share your story well enough, you can share it with others, and they'll say, you know what, I've been going through the same pain, the same situation that you've been going through as well.
Okay. So tell us real quickly, in the depression, how did journaling help you deal with your depression?
Well, depression. When I talk about depression, I want to say within a couple of years ago, maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago, after in between my sales position, I've been in sales for years. And I remember my sister-in-law and my brother were living downstairs. And I got up one day and I said, you know what, I really don't want to just jump out of bed today. Sometimes if you've ever been through depression, you know how it is. One day to just lay in the bed and not want to get out. If you ever been
Right.
there.
Yeah, I understand completely.
So one day I said, okay, well let me just lay here. And I was talking to God, and I said, I really don't want to get out of here. I don't want to get out of bed. I heard my oldest nephew. He was just making all this noise, and we're always watching him. So I said, okay, let me take a little time for myself. God help me through this. And soon enough, a week went by, and I said, well, let me try something else. Because sometimes when you try and do things on your own, you can't get through it on your own. So I said, well, why don't start writing down I still have the box today. It's like a prayer box. And I said, well, why don't I start writing down some prayers? And I said to myself, well, if I write down some prayers, maybe that'll help me through. I listen to music a lot. I love music. So after I sat down, I wrote down some prayers, and it's short story. Uh, about a week, maybe a week later, I jump in the shower. I'm getting ready for church, and something says, "Go get a knife and kill yourself." I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. If you've
Wow.
ever been there,
No, I can't say that I've been there. So on a Sunday morning, on your way getting ready for church, that's
yes,
when this hit you.
yes,
Wow. Wow.
yes. I remember the words clearly. Well, why don't you just kill yourself? You're not nothing. You're just in the shower anyway. Your parents are asleep, so why don't you just go get a knife and kill yourself? I said,
Mm.
well, I have a choice, either to go to church or to kill myself. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna get dressed and I'm gonna get my hips to church. So after I went through that about 2 3 weeks of a period of depression, that Sunday I needed to be there because the presence was very very strong, and it hit me to where it pushed me to another dimension in my life.
Wow. Wow. That is a tragic but wonderful overcoming story that you just shared with us. Thank you for that. So now let me ask you, for the little Jamie who's watching you right now, who heard that testimony, who heard that you were on the brink of leaving this world, but now you've been able to turn it around through journaling. What do you think the best thing someone in your position now, how could journaling help them get through that time?
How it could help them. If you are going through depression, if you're going through the most frustrating time of your life, I would say the most important thing is to get your your stuff that's in your mind on the paper. That's one thing. And I would say number two is it for me it worked. For everyone's not like me. You know,
Okay.
because I grew up in church. I grew up going to counseling, and sometimes that didn't even work. Doing that. So if that doesn't work, I would say write your thoughts down on paper and pray and believe that God will either send somebody your way or go to church and ask for help and say, look, these are some of the words and things that I've written down. What can you do to help me?
I love it. I think it's important that we say that point that you said earlier. You glossed by it, but this is important for somebody. The way that somebody else deals with their depression, deals with their hurt, deals with their pain or their stress doesn't necessarily work for everybody else. You know, some people may need counseling, and that
Mhm.
worked for them. Some
Mhm.
people may need therapy, and that works for them.
Right.
Some people may need to go to church and have the preacher lay hands on them, and that may work for them. But for you, journaling worked, and this is just another outlet, another form of expression, another tool, if you might say, that someone out there can use to help them not only get through what's painful in their life, but to help them overcome what's painful in their life. So I'm so glad that you are sharing this. And the second thing that you said, get it out of your head. You know, I constantly tell my clients in my coaching practice, and I also say in my book, You Are Unstoppable, that that's one thing that you've got to do. You've got to get it out of your head and put it on paper. Uh, our mind is only so big. It's not even as big as both my hands together, but it's required to hold a lot of information. And the more information it holds, the less room is left for other information to come in, new information to come in, fresh information to come in. And sooner or later, we find ourselves getting bogged down by so much old information, so many old memories, maybe so many bad memories, maybe so many unpleasant memories that we can't function and move forward. And journaling is a way for us to get it out of our head, deposit it someplace else where you can come back to it at another point, and then allow new information to come into you so that you can see the old stuff with a new perspective. Did that happen for you when you started journaling? Were you able to see life in a new way, Jamie?
Yes, I was because, like I said earlier, uh, many people go to church and they get counseling. I was one of those people when I was younger. I've always gotten counseling. I was always the PK. I was always that person saying, "Please help me, please help me." So after all of that, the abuse, the depression, and the frustration and the stress, I said, you know what? There has to be another way out. There has to be. So that was the way to journal.
Okay. So not only have you become this journal strategist, you found a way to turn journaling into something profitable for yourself. Now, did all four of these books come out of your journaling, or was this a hidden talent that you had for the longest time, but now you've been able to pull it out and make it profitable for you?
That's a good question. It started out as a hidden talent, actually. It started out with just saying, why don't I just do a book? Why don't I just, because I saw everyone else doing a book, and I said, well, I have a lot of journals around, and I said, well, let me just try it out. Let me see what happens. And most people don't do that. Most people just jump. But I said, let me just try and see what happened. And the first book that I wrote, Depression, it was like, wow, okay, here we go. So this was something that I really, really enjoyed doing at the time.
Wow, fascinating. So again, we are talking to the journal strategist, Jamie Cooper of Jamie's Journal on blogtalkradio.com. And you can hear her Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time on Blog Talk Radio. So now let's talk about how the journaling has turned into these fabulous books, and how you can teach other people how to do what you do. So let's talk about your latest book. What's the name of your latest book?
My latest book is called Pushing Mompreneurs.
Pushing Mompreneurs. And what's that all about? Tell me in a nutshell. What's the point of the Pushing Mama Mompreneur book?
The biggest thing of pushing mompreneurs is to get you. Sometimes mompreneurs are the hardest people in the planet, and like I was saying, they do everything for everybody else. So one thing what I did is instead of pushing everybody else, you got to push you. You got to push you and say, okay, well, what are some goals that I can write down for myself? That was the first thing I thought about. Okay, well, because I myself can relate. I'm running every single day of the week. I'm running all day. So sometimes I need to sit down and write down, okay, what are my goals for half of my day instead of the whole day to make the job work, to make the goals work for the day or the week.
Okay. And by journaling, can mompreneurs get better at writing their goals and getting clear on what their goals are going to be?
Sure. Sure, they can do that as well.
Okay. Are there many different ways to journal? I mean, like my book here, my book was full of blank pages when I first started. But I know there are other type of journals. So real quickly, how do you prefer to journal, and what would you recommend? What type of book would you recommend for mompreneurs who are just getting started with journaling?
Mompreneurs, I would recommend my first, actually my first book on mompreneurs. Simply because it kind of gives you a day or week by week thing that you can do. You can pick it up or you can put it down. There are times in your life when things get so crazy that you can't pick up a book. But there are other times when you get at least 5-10 minutes and you could just skim through 1 or 2 pages and then write down your goals or your concepts.
Okay, cool. And journals come in many different shapes and sizes. My wife has a cute little journal. It's about 5 by 7, and it's got a pink leather case around it, and you can snap it. And then I've seen other journals where you got slots, and you could put your cell phone in there and put your credit card in there. Oh, I mean, if you go into any Staples or any Walmart or any Office Max or Office Depot, you can see literally thousands of different types of journals with lines already in them, journals with blank pages like mine. Are you a line person, Jamie, or are you a blank page type of girl?
Actually, I'm both. I'm a line person and I'm a blank page person because sometimes I just draw. Sometimes I just draw on my page. I just draw on my calculator. I sometimes even I'll write certain things down. I'll say, okay, well, why don't I just doodle something, on how I feel at this very moment in time.
Wow. And so I just love how the fact that because you journaled, you were able to come up with this book called Pushing Mompreneurs. Because you journaled, you were able to come up with that tidbit that by pushing moms to get clear on their goals, they can be successful and they can have better use of their time. All of that came from your thoughts in your journal, whether it was writing or whether it was just doodling, like you said, whether it was drawing a picture. You got that inspiration that now is turned into a book that you're actually selling. That's right? You're selling the book, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
So you are actually showing people how to create a product that they can actually sell. It all because you started out by journaling.
Right.
Unstoppable. You know what? I could talk forever, but we got to get back into it. So the first thing you said that mompreneurs need to do is they need to be clear. So they can use journaling to get clear and to write down their goals. But you also talk about in the book about making a decision. What are you wanting mompreneurs to do by making a decision?
Well, when you make a decision, sometimes your mind is so cloudy with a lot of clutter. And I know for myself, when I wake up in the morning, if I have a lot of clutter up here, then I need to write something down to get it out of here onto paper. So
Okay.
you have to make that decision. Okay, what can I do between the hours of 8 and 12 that I immediately have to get done, that I immediately have to do before the kids get off, before my nephew runs in my room, before all these things start happening. What things do I need to do, and make a clear decision? What's important and what's not?
Wow, sounds like you're talking about setting priorities to me. Is that a good word for what you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So a mompreneur in a world where she's got to be mom and she's struggling to make this business and to make it profitable, but she may not be clear on everything that she's trying to do, nor may she be clear on the priorities, what to do first, what to do second, what to do third. You're saying, Jamie Cooper, the journal strategist, Jamie's Journal on Blog Talk Radio, you're saying that she can use journaling to not only get clear, but to prioritize, and then she could help her business become profitable as a result of that. That's what you're saying to me?
Yes, I am.
Wow, that is unstoppable. So are you seeing that kind of success with the clients that you're working with on helping them journal? Are you seeing that manifestation in their life?
Yes, I am on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Tell us a story about one of your clients and how that's helping them.
Prioritize. When I talk about prioritizing and helping them, I specifically I go through so many experiences during the day. Like today, I had to literally prioritize. I had to make a decision. I had to either I realized that my nephew was off. I realized that I had at least three, 4 calls in the morning every morning. I have at least 3 or 4 calls. So what I immediately had to do, I had to move something back, or I had to move something up, or I had to delete something. So I had three choices. I had either to delete, move it up, or move it back. It was a decision. It was a complete decision. And one of the decisions I made is to really move it back. So I texted my partner Arlene and I said, Arlene, I'm moving the show back. Can you come on? If not, I understand. So that is what I had to do, and to prioritize my day to let myself know uh, enough time, enough room for my nephew and whatever else needed to be done at the time.
Wow. And you are an entrepreneur yourself, so you know exactly what you're speaking from. So having that ability to sit down and write some things down and set some priorities and then make a decision to follow through on the things that you wrote down. That's really key to having that journaling being an effective strategy in moving from pain to profitability. Would you say that's true, Jamie?
Yes, it is. It's very true.
Wow, excellent, excellent. And then you talked about one other thing. You talked about how you help your clients use journaling to not only get clear on their goals, it helps your mompreneurs make a decision and set priorities, but it also helps them to survive the hard times. And we all know as entrepreneurs, they're going to be hard times, but it's especially hard when you're also a mother, when you're also the head of the household, where you're also the breadwinner, where you're required to keep all the plates spinning and keep all the balls juggling in the correct order at the same time. How does journaling help the mompreneur deal with the hard times and survive the hard times?
Well, when you talk about surviving, sometimes you gotta not focus on the negative. A lot of people, okay, focus on the negative so much. They watch the news. The news is the biggest thing I don't do. That's the biggest thing I don't do. And most people I hear do, most people I hear don't. But when we talk about surviving hard times, sometimes you gotta turn the negative off to focus on the positive. Sometimes you gotta go above and beyond the negativity that's going on in the world. I remember surviving hard times. I remember when we used to have the old TVs, and we had to have the hangers on the TVs. I remember the government cheese. I remember all that. But nowadays, you remember that the government cheese and the what else was it? It was, you couldn't go outside until a certain time. You had to be in by what, before 12, but then your mom would come out and shout and say, "Come on in, it's getting
Yeah,
dark."
I remember it. I do.
All those old times. I even remember when I had to put on one of my Easter dresses that I hated. I was like, oh my God, I hate this Easter dress, and I had to put it on. But you remember the hard times. So when I talk about surviving the hard times, sometimes you gotta go through you gotta turn off the negative, because the negative things can be so loud. Other than the positive, the negative things can be anything, an argument to a frustration to a stress. Sometimes, you wake up grumpy, and you're trying to just survive on 50 cents. So some people have $1 to the name. Some people don't have all that money in their pocket today. So a lot of times what I do is turn off that negativity and then focus on what things can I do to survive in this positive lifestyle, because you gotta live positive. Positive is where it's at today, and you can't focus on the negative and get through your surviving times.
And does journaling help you get more clear on focusing on that positivity and those positive times in your life?
Most definitely. That's
Okay.
mhm.
So let's have a little fun. Do you journal daily, or how often a week do you journal?
I journal every day. Every
Okay.
day.
So is there some topic that you journaled on today that maybe would be key to this conversation tonight?
Well, I wrote down a lot of notes for tonight, but I didn't use what I wanted to use. But I wrote down some things that I thought I would use, but I didn't. So everything is a process. Everything is, sometimes you don't use all your words. Sometimes you don't, when you write down notes, sometimes you don't use everything, but you do write stuff down. So everyone writes, and that's what I did for tonight.
Wow. And like you said, it's a process. And now in the book, Pushing Mompreneurs, that they can get online from Jamie's journal, you said you've got close to how many pages in this book now?
Woo, close to 100.
Wow. And all of that came from the simple task of journaling. And you got 100 pages just from journaling. So you must have at least 300 pages in your journal book to get to that 100 pages for this book, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
So talk to our audience about how you go from journaling to create a specific book like Pushing Mompreneurs. How do you go from just throwing everything into the journal into creating a specific book for a specific target market like mompreneurs?
Well, when I talk about journaling to mompreneurs, the first thing I do is I get out of the box. I think outside the box, because the most person who is an author, they think inside the box. They think, okay, what can I do to help others? But sometimes you don't think outside. I'm not a mother, but I thought outside the box and said, okay, well, how can I help others besides just journaling from day to day? And like I said before, a lot of times the things that I do with my nephew, even to help him with his homework, I this is the funniest thing. I even help him write his letters, write his numbers. I educate him on just kindergarten and preschool. I educate him as far as going to the next grade in life. So, just doing the mundane things led me to a period in my life where I said, well, I treat my nephews like I would treat my sons. I treat anyone else's kid like I treat my own kids, because I've been babysitting. Do you know how long I've been babysitting?
No.
I've been babysitting for years, years.
Okay.
So that's what else led me to this mompreneurship book. Because I've been babysitting since I was in my teens. So it came in a surprise, but yet it came out in a effective way for my Pushing Mompreneurs book.
Okay. And so you took all that wealth of experience and then you narrowed it down to how many chapters do you have in the book now?
Woo, I want to say over maybe 10. Over
Okay.
10, 12 chapters.
So now we talked about three of the things, just a little taste, just a little juice to get the audience inspired to go out and purchase the book, Pushing Mompreneurs. If you were to give them one other nugget that they could find by purchasing the Pushing Mompreneurs, what one other nugget? I don't want you to give them too many. Not they gotta go get the book. We want them to get the book. But Jamie, if you could give them one more nugget, one more piece of key information that they could use today to be profitable tomorrow, what would that be?
One thing. Now, this one thing I wrote down, and it's by Les Brown. I'm gonna use a Les Brown quote. Okay. So this is the one thing I have in my my mompreneurs book. It says,
Okay.
if you set goals and go after them with all determination, you can muster. Your gifts will take you places that will amaze you, by Les Brown.
Wow. Oh, that's powerful. If Les Brown says it, it's got to be true. But how is that important for mompreneurs right now?
It is important because you have to work towards a goal. You have to work towards something. Like I said before, you cannot. Because I remember specifically those days when I used to just wake up and go through my day. I remember those days when I would just wake up and say, okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? But I would never sit down and on a notebook or a journal and say, okay, what three things do I need to do from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. and then I have the rest of the day to myself. So that's what I think. It's important to mompreneurs not to just get up and start taking care of the kids and the clients and not have a specific clear vision on where you're going for the day or for your week.
Wow, that is so key. Just that little tidbit of making a plan for each and every day. That's something that the mompreneur is watching right now, or who's going to be watching in the replay. That's something that they can take and instantly apply to make them a better mom, a better mompreneur, and have a profitable business. I appreciate that. But Jamie, you have got to tell our audience how they can go about getting the book Pushing Mompreneurs.
Oh, yes, 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 sir. Okay, so there's a couple ways. You can either, if you are my Facebook friend, you can Facebook me. Or I'll give you two ways. Either you can Facebook me or you can email me, jamiesjournal@gmail.com. JAIMES journal@gmail.com.
Okay, say that one more time because that Jamie name is tricky. So say it again. Say it again.
So there's two ways. You can either Facebook me, you can look on Facebook and type in www.facebook.com/Jamie's Journal, JAIMES, don't forget the S, Journal. Or you can email me specifically, jamiesjournal@gmail.com, JAIMES journal@gmail.com.
Okay, so it's Jamie's Journal on Facebook, JAIMES Journal on Facebook, or it's Jamie's Journal, JAIMES Journal at gmail.com. That's how they can get in contact with you. Is that right, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
That's how they can get in contact with you and learn the keys to journaling to move from their pain to their profit. That's where they can reach you, right, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
And that's where they can go to get this wonderful, fabulous, phenomenal, unstoppable book called Pushing Mompreneurs. That's where they can reach you to get that information, right, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
Unstoppable. Well, as I said to you in the very beginning, thank you so much for being on the show, the Next Level Living Show. Thank you for sharing your testimony, and thank you for helping the people that you do live their life on the next level. Now tell them a little bit about the radio show and how they can connect with you on the radio show before we go.
Okay, so I do radio Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always just type in blogtalkradio.com/blogtalkradio.com/Jamie's Journal in the same way, JAIMES Journal. The set is all one word. Just type, if you Google Jamie's Journal and scroll down, everything should be on Google. So everything that you look at I'm on all social media. So just type in Jamie's Journal and you should see everything.
Fantastic. Well, Jamie, again, thank you so much for being a part of the show. You definitely have a invitation to come back and be on the show again when your next book comes out, or I know you're going to be doing a couple of conferences later on this year on your radio show, and we'll definitely welcome you back to talk about those conferences down the road as well. Thank you again for living your life on the next level. Okay, Jamie?
Thank you.
All right. So as always, we end the show with my unstoppable thought. And this is a thought based around the show to have you end on a motivating note so that you can move to action. We don't want you to just sit here and be entertained. We want you to be infotained. We want you to take that message and we want you to learn, do, and then teach. Let's say that again. We want you to learn, do, and teach. Now, we just taught you how to use journaling to move from your pain to profitability. Now, we want you to go out and apply that. We want you to go out and go to your local Staples or your local department store and pick up a journal. And what do we want you to do next? We want you to actually sit down with a pen or a pencil and write something down. Doesn't matter what it is. See, journaling is a fluid thing. Once you start it, it's like a river that flows into a lake, that flows into an ocean. Once you start it, you can't turn the nozzle off the water. So just let the water begin to flow and ride the wave and see where it takes you. It's going to take you to some great places. It's going to take you to some scary places in the beginning. It may even take you to some uncomfortable places, some places that you didn't want to visit. But as I say to my clients, when it comes up, it's got to come out. So let it come up so it can come out, so that you can be clear to be the person that you need to be, that unstoppable person who's living their life on the next level. I'm Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Lethbridge with Unstoppable Coaching Services. And if you like this show, the Next Level Living Show, then please share it with somebody else. Go ahead and share the link. Go ahead and do the Facebook share or the LinkedIn share or the Pinterest share or even the Twitter share, and let somebody know about this great show, the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence. And then send me a comment. You can always reach out to me by going to the Next Level Living Show on Facebook and leaving me a comment. Or you can reach me directly at tlethbridge at Next Level Living Show. Next Level Living Show, all one word, at gmail.com. And until we meet again, family, I don't want you to just have a great week. I want you to have an unstoppable week. And here's to living your life on the next level. Take care.